just turned off the radio there. So yeah, it is Saturday. It is actually pretty late for me, like 7:30. So I'm garage selling. Nothing in the last 2 weekends, I gotta admit, that I find anything. So today I'm hoping I actually come up with some stuff. Caveat, I had hernia surgery on Wednesday. It is now Saturday. But it's healing up nicely, and so long as I don't find anything that weighs over 20 pounds, that, you know, even if it does and I can lift it in different parts, I should be okay. So, you know, today is the day where it's like, here's a pinball machine for 50 bucks. So yeah, the first one I'm going to hit is this large community. It's a church sale. And there's usually, it's an outdoor one, and there's usually about, let's say, 20 vendors nearly. And I've gotten some interesting stuff at it in the past. So I'm going to try to do some filming, at the sale itself. Although this is right in my own town, so I feel super weird doing it. But we'll see what happens. There's about 15 garage sales this weekend, and I'm hoping to get to them all before I open up the store or pass out from pain. I'm not in pain. All right, we'll talk to you later.
We should do it. Actually, if we bring this table back here a bit, then we can put the other table up here a bit. Then we can have we can use our space back here a little bit more. How you doing this morning?
Good, thanks. I think I'm just gonna grab some of your CDs here.
Those are all random ones, so we'll just put them in there. Just same.
You need to get your sink fixed. What is all this? The line to cut again? What is this? What is this? Lights? Are these lights? Yeah. Yeah? You do with the lights?
Okay, so it's the next day. It's Sunday. I just finished closing up the shop. Give you a scan of the store. For those who are new to the channel or just browsing, my name is Jay. I own a vintage and collectible store that we've been in business for 20 years here in a small town in Ontario called Dunnville. I sell, obviously you can see vinyl records, vintage toys, vintage clothing, magazines, mid-century modern furniture, anything that has ever caught my eye over the last 40 years of my life. And there's a lot of it here, so come buy some. But I digress. Yesterday, I did manage to get some stuff at the garage sales. And it's not a whole ton, but it's kind of going to be interesting because one of the things I bought, which was a box of 45s, it wasn't a blind buy because I did do a quick skim through, but I didn't kind of see anything. And the guy, it was he immigrated in 1964 from the UK, brought his records, his singles that he had bought over there with him, and then kept buying right up through into the 80s. So there's this wide mix of stuff in there. Like I said, I haven't gone through it piece by piece, just kind of skimmed it. The price he wanted for it, it didn't matter. I was like, I'm just going to buy it. I went to a churchyard sale, which I think I show some stuff of. I got some CDs there, a few records. I think I actually filmed there for some of that. So you get that experience. But what we're going to do is we're going to go look at the stuff that I got. And then you and I are both together going to find out what's in that box of 45s. Because I said, I've been dying to get in there, but I was like, you know what? I'll just wait for the video. So you guys can come do it too. So let's go have a look at that now. Okay, so that there. My grade 9 English teacher would be losing her mind. That's everything from the garage sales. Like I said, one of them was a big community-wide garage sale. I think the best way for me to do this is just do these things over here first, and then I'm going to sort of rearrange that to have a look through, because again, I have only skimmed it. I haven't gone through it. It's a ton of 45s, so we'll deal with this stuff first. First off, I got some CDs. This, which I thought was Lost in Space soundtrack from the TV show, turns out it's like a Windows 95 CD-ROM, which, might be interesting, except I don't have a computer with a CD-ROM anymore, which is a shame. These, I believe, were 50 cents a piece. I'll have to go back and look at the video. Maybe you guys can go back. It says right on it. But I just picked up stuff that, like, I think it'd be good for the store or personal collection. I'm pretty sure I have most of these, but never 100% Concrete Blonde. Stadia 4 from Anthrax. I know I have this Soundgarden. And this is Soundgarden's A-Sides. This is live on Letterman, music from The Late Show. There's some interesting stuff on here. So, that's really why I got it. Patti Smith, R.E.M., Sinead O'Connor, and Van Morrison, which are kind of interesting. Al Green and Lyle Lovett. That alone would be. So there's The Offspring. And then Silverchair, which again, neither of those bands I'm a huge fan of, but I know the people come into the store to get them all the time. And so at least they'll have some CDs to come in and grab. Now, I am a sucker for buying musical instruments. So long as they're cheap, I will pick them up all the time. I recognized the case as either it was going to be a clarinet or perhaps a flute, and turns out to be a clarinet. And it is from the Kahn company in the USA. You can see it there. The case actually is a Kahn case, which you can see there too. I do not know a heck of a lot about clarinets. What I do know is that they can be very expensive. Brand new, they're exceedingly expensive. If you go to buy a brand new one at a store, you're going to be laying out a lot of money. And consequently, vintage ones also fetch decent money for people who are trying to save a little bit of cash, especially when you're not sure if your kid or whoever is going to be into it or not. You don't want to go blow like $1,500 on a new one when you can pick one up for a couple of hundred online. eBay, again, I am 90% sure it's all here. I have to go through the whole thing again, but even if not, parted out, this would be well over 100, maybe more. If it's a complete one with the case, and the case is a bit rough, but you could probably clean that up pretty easy. These things are going on eBay. Check the sales. Anywhere from $75 to $300. Now, I don't know which end of this is on yet. I haven't done a ton of research on it. I just, check sale comps like everybody else. But it was $15. So, of course, I'm going to pick that up. So, yeah, pretty happy about that. And then, here we go. I did grab some LPs. Now, more and more what I'm seeing at garage sales is instead of the 50 cents and $1 LP when they are there, it is generally a starting range of 5. So there was a lot of stuff that either I had multiples from the store of, or I already had in my personal collection and had no personal interest in it. that for me weren't worthwhile picking up at $5. Like, they're really just not. Because a lot of those records in there would be in my store at 5, maybe 8. 1 or 2 would have been 10, but I just couldn't bother. So I picked up some ones that I've had people ask me for, that I don't have multiples of, or that are, have a little bit higher value. So I cannot pass up a Stevie Wonder record. I love Stevie, and Inner Visions is one of the best records he ever made. I know everybody loves Talking Book, Songs in the Key, but Inner Visions is still one of my favorite records of all time. It's got Living for the City on it, and Too High, and it's just... All in Love is Fair. I mean, okay, Living for the City, that's the ultimate, to me, Stevie Wonder track. Like, it's, I'm going to make you dance, but I'm also going to talk about some, like, really hard social issues as well at the same time. But you're going to have fun while you learn. And that is Living for the City in a nutshell. Friends of Distinction. I've recently got into the Friends of Distinction, and I've been picking them up when I go along. This one, the interesting thing about it is property of CBC Record Library Toronto. That alone would have sold me on it. 1969. This one I just grabbed because I'd never actually come across it before. It's a Canadian record club. I don't mind the Thompson Twins. I'm not a huge fan. But I mean, worst case scenario, I'm not going to lose money on it. Here's one that's a little higher value, the Fad Gadget. Cover needs to obviously be a bit cleaned up, and obviously probably a cat got to the edge of it. But for my old personal collection, this Curtis Mayfield Superfly, it's the die cut cover version of it. It's Canadian pressing. These are all in pretty good shape, honestly. I did check that beforehand. I sell this record for between $25 and $40, depending on condition. Sometimes a little higher, sometimes lower. And then this one is going with me. It's Take It Easy with the Walker Brothers. It's a UK pressing, which is pretty great. And again, I did check condition, and I hate doing this, but you can just get the idea there. It is like super clean. No scratches. I'm going to run it through the ultrasonic cleaner and then a spin clean rinse, so that will take off any fingerprints or anything else that's on there. So that one's really good. They were $5 a piece, and then he said 5 for 20, and I grabbed 6, and he's like, that's fine. So I got 6 of those for $20, which is, I don't know what, but somewhere near the $4 mark, I think. I'm not a mathematician by any stretch, even basic math. But that was great. What did I say on these? So, yeah, 50 cents a piece, I think, was what it was. Might have even been less. I don't know. So, yeah, that's it there. So, basically, 20, 35, we'll call it $40 spent there. And... I mean, one of those I'll sell probably around the $4 to $5 mark. There's a few that might be a little bit higher than that on the CDs, so easy. This is the exciting thing for me. So it was the last garage sale of the day, and it was in an area that I was like, it's all new build. New builds generally, when I'm going out, are places that rarely, like, I'm talking new build houses, like estates and things like that. It's usually either elderly people who are retiring and moving there, and they have already downsized and gotten rid of all their old stuff, or it's new families who are just getting rid of, like, the stuff they bought from Walmart. And I know that's a generalization, but it's one that does stand. I am always looking for places that look old, that the family still lives in. So for me especially, I'm looking for places built in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s, because that's where a lot of the stuff I sell comes from. And if they're still the original family that's in that, or they haven't cleaned out the attic or the sheds or anything like that, those are the garage sales I look for. That's like a dream garage sale. So I walked up on this one expecting nothing. Beautiful house. Really, everything there was clean. The stuff that was out was primarily new stuff, like from places like Walmart and stuff like that. But it was an elderly couple. And I started talking to the man. He had a UK accent, and I'm originally from England, so we started chatting. And I asked him, "Do you have any old records?" And he said, "I do." And he went to go dig for them. And he said, "What are you looking for?" And I said, "Mainly rock and roll." And he brought out a bag, or his wife went to go get it and brought out a bag. And it was mostly like James Last and things like that. And he said, "Well, those aren't mine." And he said, "What about the 45?" She's like, "Oh, that's in a box somewhere." So he went looking and then came out. And he explained to me that when he came over in, I think, the mid-60s from England to here, he brought his 45s with him. And he kept adding to it. And that's what this box is. So it's basically like a little time capsule of his record collecting life. I paid, I think it was around $30, maybe $40 for the whole lot. I scanned through it. There's more than enough in there that it didn't matter. At $40, it was like, I'm gonna grab it, because if nothing else, it's like, it's fun for me. So what I'm gonna do now is actually pause the video. I'm going to set this up so I can flip through it a little better, and then that way, because pulling stuff out like this is never gonna look great or make that much entertaining TV or whatever you watch this on. So give me a minute and I'll have this set up. Okay, we're going to run through these quickly because it is a lot. I haven't done a piece count, but there's got to be close to 145s here. Now, again, a lot of this stuff is going to be, some of it's going to be new. He said he collected right into the 1980s. So, but there's a lot of UK stuff in here, and then a lot of early Canadian pressings too. So I'm just going to show you them real quickly. Here's one from the Mojos. It's a UK pressing. Most of these are in really nice shape. Let's see if I can bring this out just so you can sort of see there. There's a few scuffs and things on there, but again, a lot of that stuff will ultrasonic clean out. Walter Egan. Dusty guitar from Ned Miller. It's a mix of stuff. Okay, there's one. Booker T and the MGs on stacks. Time is Tight. That's a good one. Here's the Drifters. It's a UK Atlantic London pressing. Here's another UK one. Who is it? It's the Beach Boys. It's a later repress, I think, but still. Gene and Debbie on TRX. I don't know who they are. Put that one aside to look at later. Acker Bilk. For You, Babe, the Spokesman on Decca. The Bachelors, it's a UK pressing. There's another one, Beach Boys, God Only Knows. Pretty common stuff, nothing crazy rare in here, except for the UK stuff. Now, if you're in the UK looking at this going, why does he care about UK stuff? Because I'm in Canada. We don't see things like this very often. It's just like if you get a box of, like, say, US stuff from the 60s, say from a soldier who stayed over, was stationed in the UK someplace. You get pretty excited about it, even though it's, pretty common stuff. Gary U.S. Bonds on a UK pressing. Tillis. There's some country in here. There's an Engelbert Humperdinck. He said he was into rock and roll. I think he might have been a little, Carpenters, he might have been a little generous with what is rock and roll. There's the Walker Brothers, the UK. There's a Beatles, the Ballad of John and Yoko, picture sleeve, but it is, sadly, has someone's name on it. Not in the best of shape, but I don't have that, so I'll keep that one for myself. Four Seasons, Kingsman, Haunted Castle. If you guys see something that I'm missing, feel free to drop it in there about what's good. I'm not by any stretch. My thing is LPs, always has been. I can look up 45s on Discogs like anybody else. There's a Fats Domino UK pressing. Mr. Acker Bilk. These are all the reissues. Conway Twitty. Something from the 80s. I don't know who the Body Electric is. Not sure. Bobby Vinton. Lee Dorsey on a Canadian Quality label. The Cutting Crew. There we go. This is a Billy Vera and the Beaters, so that's on Rhino. Dancing to Nowhere. Orange Juice Jones. You guys can read this. Oh, there's Mamas and Papas. I'm always looking for like 60s soul records primarily, but I love some of the rock and roll and beat stuff that comes in here. It's the Beatles, unusual green label. It's a reissue. Tommy Rowe. Classics 4. Spooky. There's one, Shadows on a Columbia UK. There's a Dave Clark 5. That's pretty cool. He said he actually went to school with Dave Clark, who was a couple of grades ahead of him, so he didn't actually know him, but there's one UK with the center popped out. Ramsey Lewis, The In Crowd on chess. Four Seasons UK. Tommy Rowe. Even these, like, the sleeves are great. So I'm pretty... I don't see any huge winners here right now. Jimmy Soul, Engelbert. A lot of these might end up being donated. Gary U.S. Bonds. But you never know. You'd never know. There's the Honeycombs. That's pretty cool. What was the name of the producer for the Honeycombs? Can't remember. It's on Pie. Canadian Pie. Bobby Darin. I really like the sleeves. Roy Orbison, UK. Billy Davis, UK. There's an early Tamla. It's, oh, that's a US pressing, too. That's the Isley Brothers. That's kind of nice. Wilson Pickett on Atlantic. That's pretty nice, too. Oh. No idea. I'll have to check that one out later. Jolly Tillotson. There's another early Tamla, Motown, Marvelettes. It's the A side. Don't mess with Bill. Here's a cool one. The Times. Oh, the Teddy Bears. So there's some like doo-wop. Oh, there you go. Shangri-La's. I love like girl groups from the 60s. It's on the Redbird label. And then the Beau Brummels, Laugh Laugh. And there's Human League picture sleeve. Don't You Want Me? I don't have that. I might keep that. Kenny Loggins Danger Zone. Top Gun. All right. Early American Columbia Birds. Okay, so maybe he did some traveling in the States. I don't know. Jimmy Dean. Tom Jones. Lou Christie. And again, if you see something I'm missing, like some Northern Soul obscure thing, Malcolm Bond, that I'm not super aware of, hey, please feel free to let me know. I have no idea what this is. Mr. Better D rep. Sample record, not for sale. Street Where You Live. That's interesting. Something I'll have to check out with the Matrix. Numbers on that. The Debonaires, not familiar with that label. Rally, never seen that before. Bernard Cribbins, Parlophone. Only Boy Blue, Conway Twitty. Early sort of rockabilly. Bachelors on UK again. Johnny Horton. That's like a reissue label. Collectibles, flares. Bill Anderson. Winkle Picker Shoes. Bernard Cribbins, I don't know who that is. Four Seasons. Roddy. Middle of the Road. There's a Deep Purple. Oh, no. Nino Tempo singing Deep Purple. That sucks. Oh, there you go. Phillies. Righteous Brothers. Louise Tucker and Jerry Smith and his piano. Okay, so nothing major in there at all. So far, my $40 looks... yeah, you know what? For me, there's sleeves that I can match up with my keeper collections. So I'll just pause this and we'll do a bit more in a second. There's nothing in that one. The Sir Douglas Quintet on Smash. I think that is a Canadian pressing. Tony Landers, I don't know who that is, not gonna lie. UK, the Hollies. There is Manfred Mann. And the Dave Clark 5. UK again. Ray Charles, UK. Another Bachelors on Decca, UK. Oops, here are US Bonds. New Christie Minstrels. Wow, that was tough. Little Eva. This was UK, but it's had the center popped out, which happens to a lot of the UK singles that come over to North America, sadly. Tell me quickly, I don't know. Hey, Belinda Carlisle. She was so pretty. Brighton Rock. Strangely enough, I knew Jerry, who was the lead singer, Jerry McGee of Brighton Rock, because I used to be a record label rep, and I used to go see him to sell our deletes to back in the day from the CDs. Rod Stewart, Burl Ives, God. The Beatles, She Loves You. Stones, Canadian, Ruby Tuesday. Spend the Night Together. Reissue Herman's Hermits. Get Off My Cloud. Another Dave Clark 5. UK, Jan and Dean. Elvis. The Kinks, Come On Now, UK Pie. That's a later one too. Tired of Waiting. It's one of my favorite Kinks songs. That's, for me, worth it. Trying to Fit Your Sleeve. Van Halen. It's from 5150 too, so that's later. Love Walks In. These look like a little, yeah, there you go. Lethal Weapon, Honeymoon Suite, Canadian band. Chicago, I think these are New Shoes. Rod Stewart, Elton John, UK Elvis, Viva Las Vegas, Rick Astley, I'll Never Set You Free, Together Forever. It's not even the one everybody wants. The Drifters, Houston. Oh, it's Dean Martin. I was going to say it's Lee Hazelwood. So he obviously wrote it. It's Dean Martin performing. That's too bad because I'm always looking for Lee Hazelwood stuff. Dusty. Louis Armstrong, Good Morning Vietnam. Oh, that's cool. For me, I'm a huge Blue Jays fan. So, and we're, I think, second in the whole American, well, we're definitely second in the American League, but we are probably second or third in the majors right now too. So there you go. That's for me. So I got two for $40 so far that I'm going to be keeping. Kitty Wells. Dick and Dee Dee. So I think that's a reissue on Decca. Oh no, it's Compo. Buddy Holly. Monkeys. Tommy McLean, not familiar. Big D. Irwin. UK Shadows. Johnny Thunder. Not the one I want. Ronnie and the Daytonas. These are hits of the past reissues. Every Canadian record collection should have some Anne Murray, and that is it there. Dans le Letkis. France. Francais. Doing the Hully Gully. Chad Harris. New Vaudeville Band. Jay and the Americans. Chris Andrews. Motown, Four Tops. Mary Lou's and the Playboys. And then what's this one here? Glass Tiger, another Canadian band. There you go. So, all right. So far, I would say I don't have that much that really interests me. But, I mean, just sheer volume. I haven't done a count. I'll probably do it at the end and tag it on at the end. Again, $40 for all this. No big things here so far, and I'll just pause this and get the rest out now. We'll have a look through the whole thing. Okay, so that's the box empty. As you can see at the very end, I forgot to mention there were a few 78s in that original bag that had some interest to me. So you'll see those. I'm not a big 78 collector, but I do pick up some rock and roll and blues and things like that. So here we go, the last of it. Probably 4 pennies. Del Shannon. Wild one. Okay, probably some, I think. Dancing in the Street. Who is that? Well, it's got Mama Cass on it. Oh, it's Mamas and Papas. That's why. Royal Guardsman. Snoopy versus the Red Baron. Picture sleeve of the Everly Brothers. I don't see that very often. Sadly, somebody wrote a flower on it. Wakikis. Roger Miller. The Ivy League. UK pressing on Piccadilly. And Kim. Oh! There we go. That's something that for me personally is worthwhile. Canadian psychedelic, for Canada, fairly well known. The Ugly Ducklings on the Yorkville label out of Toronto. I have a copy that is thoroughly beat up, and this one slightly less. That actually looks like it'll clean up really nicely. As I say, the A side was Gaslight, and the B side is Rim Nugget. I mean, that's a $15, maybe $20 single. So there's half the price, and it'll probably improve mine. So pretty happy with that. There you go. Maybe there's some more. I didn't even think I'd see something like that in there. So there you go. Searchers, Elvis, Wilson Pickett, but it's a reissue, sadly. Merrily Rush. No idea. Elvis Presley reissue. Bumblebee and the Stingers on Barry. I don't know who that is, but I like the name. Frank Ifield, UK. Six Sober and Sorry. That's awesome. Johnny Bond. Groove and Grubworm. Harlow Wilcox and the Okies. Don't know who they are. On Phillies, You've Lost That Lovin' Feelin', the Righteous Brothers. White Christmas, Elvis, UK. Elton John. Dwayne Eddy's Rebel Walk. Luba, there's another Canadian one. Storm Before the Calm. Box Tops, The Letter. Alex Chilton. Can't really go too far wrong with anything Alex Chilton's on, but I already have that multiple times. Not hard to find. Jack Jones. Canadian Swirl, Freddie and the Dreamers. New Colony 6, Canadian. Gary U.S. Bonds, it's a UK. Jewel Akins, sort of soul. The Drifters. UK pressing on UK Atlantic. Bumblebee and the Stingers, they really love those. Nut Rocker. I'm sure it meant something different than it is now. Seekers on the UK. Bill Medley and Jennifer Lawrence. PJ Proby. Pet Shop Boys. Oh, another Kinks. Nice. All Day and All Night. UK pressing. Sweet. Another one for me. Del Shannon's Runaway, UK pressing. The Culture Club. Look at that. Lee Marvin. It's Easy to Moody Blues, UK pressing on Decca. Engelbert. Now, these don't have sleeves. Oh, there's the Hands Up one. Tony Orlando. That's what's on the other side. Del Shannon. Another UK Shadows. The Shadows, the Third Man. Nancy Sinatra. So there's Lee Hazelwood again. Tom Jones. Tony Fisher. Tommy Rowe. Beatles. Apache. The Shadows doing Apache. Jet Harris and Tony Meehan. Well, there's one. Ghost Rider in the Sky, the Ramrods. It's on the Canadian Quality label. Billy Idol To Be a Lover picture single. So, yeah, that's it for those. For me, I got 2 Kinks singles. That Ugly Ducklings was pretty great. Was it worth $40? I'm sure it is, just based on sheer volume. Even if I just stick these out in the store at 50 cents a piece, I get a few things from my own collection. There's a lot of interesting UK stuff, so some of those will be a little bit higher priced in here. Again, if you're in the UK, you're like, why? Well, just like you find American or Canadian or any sort of import singles, they usually are a little more interesting to collectors than just your standard domestic. Same thing here. The UK singles, even though they're fairly common in the UK and probably parts of Europe, not so much here. So, you know, overall, would I do it again? Yeah, because I love just digging through boxes. So, but in terms of, like, you know, financially, no, it's not, you know, best way to spend $40. But I'm really happy I did because, again, I get 2 Kinks singles out of it, and the Ugly Ducklings, which is great. Shake, Rattle, and Roll, Bill Haley and his Comets. It's a 78 on Microgroup. And then I think these are all, yeah, Elvis's RCA Montreal Hound Dog. I'll have to see if that's a reissue or one of the early ones. And there's another one, All Shook Up. And then Tommy Sands, Teenage Crush, and Hefty Hootie. Okay, so I'm sure that made fantastically interesting viewing. Can you hear the sarcasm? But for me, there was some pretty cool stuff in there. And again, I paid, I believe it was $40 for this whole box. When he pulled it out, he had this on it. So they tried to sell it in another garage sale years ago, I guess at $15, and there were no takers. But then they waited long enough until Jay wandered along and paid them more than double for it. But yeah, it's just, you know, stock for the store. Some UK things. I do have a lot of 45 collectors who come in and buy, especially out of my, I call them jukebox stuffers, my dollar bin. That stuff goes a lot. So, but like I said, that Ugly Ducklings, here, let's see if we can find it in here. There it is. Pretty happy with that. Really happy with that. So there you go. All right. Yeah, so garage sale season is starting to slow down, but I'm going to keep heading out there, and hopefully I'll find some more stuff to be able to share with y'all. Bye.